IoT Automations is connected to all aspects of Canopy. And so you can react to information inside of this part of the product on any information that's collected. And so what this really is, it's an if this, then that statement. If something occurs, what do I want to happen next? So we can do this very simple, or we can do very complex, and we'll get into both here in just a moment. We'll start simple. So if we look at a simple automations path, what we look at is it says, if my payment device goes red, what do I want to do? I want to send a support email. So I send an email to support at Canopy. Right? It says my payment device is down, your local payment device is offline at this time. And that's it. Very simple. Anytime a payment device in that KPI status from that first page goes from green to red, I will get this email, and it will notify me. And there's a lot of other things you can do by setting parameters. You can tell you the device ID and all sorts of cool stuff. But this is a very simple way. Now, just to review some of the capabilities of this. An event is anything inside a Canopy. So you've got KPIs, right? So that was things changing red to green, red to yellow, all sorts of stuff like that. You also have leaf events, which is the messages that are coming into the system. And so you've got messages always reporting in from Leaf, constantly connected to Canopy. And you might react to those in a very reactionary way. You hit a button, or you look at something, or you do some triage, any of that. Well, this automation tooling can do that work for you as well. So you can take a really granular event that comes in and run an automation on it. Now, there might be parameters, there might be variables that come off of that. So it's like, oh, I saw an event, it's an anomaly. But in the real world, I don't necessarily just immediately do something. I might do something like set a timer for a minute or 2 minutes to see if it does a self-resolution. It might just be a little buggy, right? So like we contemplate those types of things. You can set variables in there like, well, what if I get these 3 messages consecutively in a row, right? There's all these variables you can set up. And then you might do multiple things. You might try something, or you might wait, but also send an email, things like that. So you've got all your different gateways that we'll walk through. So it says you can do ands and ors and merge and all sorts of different stuff that you want to look at. We do notifications. The one thing that's not listed here is we also do in-app notifications, where this will just populate like a little red dot. And so if you have dedicated staff that are always logged into Canopy, then that's what they can see. Obviously, we can send information to other systems as well. But a lot of times we see emails, we do text messages, stuff like that. And you have all your API calls, right? So from an API call standpoint, you might want to grab information off of that device, right? So we do this. This is a very common one that we use, which is load device, meaning give me the attributes of that device, because I'm going to make checks and balances off of that. An attribute of a device really simply could be, is it in the field or is it in a warehouse? Because if it's in a warehouse, I don't really care about it right now. I need to care about things that are deployed and in the field. And so that could be one that's a good example. Because if it's in the warehouse, stop doing whatever you're doing. Don't do anything. If it's in the field, then I want to run triage against it. Then the next thing that we can do is we can take in any actions. And so from an action standpoint, we've got our full list of actions that are here, right? So I can get an event, understand what that event is, and I might update the software, or I might reboot the machine, or I might execute a remote command. There's all sorts of different things that I can do to contemplate what this can be. So what's really cool is our customers will use this in any sort of fashion. They use this for onboarding and provisioning. They use this from a device management for system updates, and they also use this for real-time triage. Well, they'll make decisions based on the information they collect. They might make adjustments automatically through their systems. And so we're looking at an example of that, of how that can be done, and one that I've built just for us to review here. So if we look at this one, a little bit more complexity that's going on here, but it's the same principle as an event comes into the system. What are the steps that I want to do next? And so now we can review that. So from here, we got an event, and we made it a really granular one, which is that the convinced version is not equal to, it's a patch version, right? It's not equal to 01.27.23. So what's the first thing we do? Well, let's make sure that we're not doing things on the system already, because if we're running system updates, we don't want to kick that thing out of routines. And so if it's running and if it's in progress, then we're not going to do anything. When it checks back in and it comes back and it says, I'm not running this version and I got nothing in progress, then we're going to kick off this routine. It's going to head down this path. And then, just like I said, we're going to grab device attributes from that load device. And it's saying, what device, I need to know specifically which patch version you're running. Are you running 2.11.34 or 09.26.22? And based on that, I'll send different updates. I'll send different software updates. And then I'll do something as simple as wait. And I'll wait 2 minutes, right? This is the duration of time. And this is completely configurable. Like here, if I pause that, I can change this and I can say, I want to wait an hour. I can wait a month. It doesn't matter. You can wait as long as you want. It's all self-serving for you to build. But now I'll run this and it'll say, all right, I'll wait for it to go back. After 2 minutes, I then check again. And it's if my patch version is equal to 0.1.27.23, meaning that the patch updated and that was 2 minutes, and my KPI is green, meaning that if I go back to that operations page, everything is working, that's when I say I'm done. Meaning I know that I fixed it and I didn't break anything else. But if my software patch is not working and my KPI is red, then I'm going to send an email that says the patch configuration was not successfully updated and that somebody needs to log in. So why is this important? This removes 30% of somebody's workload. This triage that runs across thousands of devices will remove a tremendous amount of time from what that person has to do on a daily basis. And it also does it in an effective way that keeps all of these devices operational. And so there's two really things that come out of this. One, a person gets their time back in a support group that's responsible for doing Windows patching. And then two, a device is not out of compliance or offline or anything like that because we're automatically fixing everything. And so this can be updated, this can be changed at any given time. When the next patch comes out, they log in here and they change that into whatever the next config is. They update a couple of parameters and it continues to run for them. Or they can copy this and redo it and keep this one running in perpetuity because new devices are coming off the shelf and coming online and all sorts of stuff. And they don't want to sit there and spend a bunch of time triaging an issue that they have with the device. What they rather do is have an automation that automatically brings that device to the certified state that it needs to be in. And so this is just one example of how you can leverage automations to do something like a system update. Obviously, you could be doing triage, we could do restarts, reboots, all sorts of stuff that our customers are using it for today.